Developments in the Harvey Weinstein scandal have been fast and furious over the past 24 hours. We've learned that the movie mogul has boarded a flight to Europe for sex rehab as more victims have now come forward. The latest being Cara Delevingne, who claims she was a victim of his unwanted advances. And there's more. New reports about how Weinstein was perhaps protected. First up, NBC News. Here's Ronan Farrow on how the network refused to first report on the story.
Why did you end up reporting this story for The New Yorker and not for NBC News?
Look, you would have to ask NBC and NBC executives about the details of that story. I'm not going to comment on any news organization's story that they, did or didn't run. I will say that over many years, many news organizations have circled this story and faced a great deal of pressure in doing so.
And then there's Hollywood. Did they know about Weinstein's abuses and sit by and do nothing? This video from more than 4 years ago may prove so.
Oh, please. I'm not afraid of anyone in show business. I turned down intercourse with Harvey Weinstein on no less than 3 occasions out of 5.
Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
All right, so Dana, do you think this is perhaps just the tip of the iceberg?
I don't know. I mean, listen, the laughter doesn't sound so funny, now I'm looking back and I guess knowing what they knew at the time. I do have to say I'm really impressed with Ronan Farrow and how composed he was. I mean, that's not easy to do an interview. At least they did the interview on MSNBC at the parent company. The question being, did they actually stifle the story that Ronan had worked on for quite a while? And they said, no, take it somewhere else. And he takes it to the New Yorker. I thought that was pretty remarkable that perhaps it is a lot more widespread. And Chris Hayes, who is a host at MSNBC, said, you have to wonder if Hollywood is staring at something that would be as big as the scandal that the Catholic Church went through 15 years ago.
Yeah, and you had a good discussion about that today. The other thing, Dana, just to follow up really quickly, is that Seth MacFarlane had said that he had heard about it or knew about it and was making the joke. So that at least there's some suggestion that there was some knowledge and discussion about it, sort of maybe behind the scenes, et cetera, in Hollywood. So where do they go from here?
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of places have gone through this, and you look back and you think, well, was it, if you might have heard about it, but maybe you didn't have anything personal to do with it, so you think, well, that's none of my business. But a lot of these actresses that have come forward, and some of their former boyfriends or current boyfriends who had said that they did try to confront him directly, they didn't take it public, and partly that's because they're in a business together and they want to succeed. But I do wonder if at this point they're realizing that they have a much bigger problem on their hands because they were laughing about it, excusing it, but you actually might have legal action that will take him for a long time. I think it's very curious, Kimberly. I'm curious what you think about this. Why did Harvey Weinstein have to go overseas? I mean, is there not an opportunity to go to one of these places in America? I've never looked into it.
Harvey looks like a serial sexual predator, and it was an open secret. And it's so cliche when you think about it that a ugly, fat, old Hollywood producer dangles the dream of success in front of a young starlet on a casting couch. The stereotype is just so sick. But
they don't have to be physically attractive or not. The point is it happens.
But either way, the cliche is true if you look at them. Now, if you look at the industry of Hollywood, there's so limited amount of roles that these women are pursuing. And there's only a few big production houses in Hollywood. So you have a few rich, powerful men like Weinstein who control and are the gatekeepers for very, very hotly contested roles. So you have women coming across from Europe, from Asia, from all over the country to compete and try to land their dream job. And he preys on their dreams, and he exploits their dreams for sexual gratification. Now, it's not the victim's fault for not coming forward, but like you said, it was so open that everybody knew about it, and instead of doing something about it, they put their own self-preservation and their own success and their own access above doing the right thing. So Hollywood's so self-congratulatory and self-righteous. You see them at the award shows, patting themselves on the back. They decide that they're the arbiters of what's right, what's appropriate in this country. And they're quick to point the finger when any of their enemies cross the moral lines that they've designated. But the fact that this went on for so long and they did nothing completely undercuts their credibility when they champion the causes that they claim to want a champion.
Okay, just, Juan, let's touch upon the most important aspect of this, which is the victims. There's many reasons why people don't come forward. They don't feel that they have economic power or a voice that will be heard. Many of them want to make sure that they can try to get a chance in the industry, and it's, very uncomfortable. Some people said they didn't want to come forward out of not to embarrass his family or wife or children, that type of thing, or they feel just, humiliated and self-shame at that. I mean, I dealt with that a lot with sexual assault, victims, people who were raped, sex abuse crimes, where they don't want to come forward because of the stigma.
I think there's so much changing in the country with regard to the relationships between men and women, but in the workplace, exactly what you say is at play, Kimberly, because I think lots of women saw this as an opportunity to get ahead. So we know about the women who've come forward and said, Harvey Weinstein behaved inappropriately. What's not said oftentimes is the women who may have had some relationship and it might have advanced their career. I even read in the paper today, one woman had his initials tattooed on her because, he made her career. But now, all of a sudden, I think people feel like, what, Harvey Weinstein is, as Jesse said, a clear sexual predator. And, and the question becomes not just Hollywood, but as we're seeing in the papers today, what about the politicians who were taking Harvey Weinstein's money, from the Clintons to the Obamas? Why were those people silent? And again, you come back to the idea that, he had power, he had money, and men like sex, and they want sex with younger women, and here he had the opportunity to act in a way that said, it's my prerogative. It comes with the power. On Wall Street, this is a problem. You read about people in Washington, congressmen having affairs and saying to the mistress, let's have an abortion, even though he says that he is, pro-life. And then you hear about things, like John F. Kennedy and all the women that were around that, or you hear about, to me, a lot of what's going on the college campuses where the colleges don't know how to deal when a young woman says that the guy behaved inappropriately.
Subscribe now.